How do you know if it's recording? I don't see it on the screen.
Well, it is.
Does it say it's recording? Oh,
Yeah.
it does. Okay. Okay, guys. So we're gonna continue geometry. I want to talk about angles really quickly. This is an acute angle. An acute angle is small. It's less than 90 degrees. This is really corny, but I do this every year. The way I remember that it's acute is because it's cute, because it's small. You can shake your head all you want, but you're gonna remember, cute. It's small. A right angle is exactly 90 degrees, and the way you can tell it's a right angle, it usually has this symbol right here, this little box symbol, and that represents it is a right angle. Then we have obtuse angles. Obtuse angles are between 90 degrees and 180 degrees. They're the big ones that open up. And then we have a straight angle, and the straight angle will be exactly 180 degrees, and it's a straight line. So every time you see a straight line, that it will be equal to 180 degrees. This symbol right here, it looks like a less than sign, but it's not a less than sign. It's the symbol for angle. So right here, you can see it's an acute angle, a right angle, an obtuse angle, and a straight angle. Just to clarify, the difference between the less than sign and the angle sign, the angle sign has a flat bottom. So that's the difference between the less than and the angle sign. And then the way we read this, just in case you have a question, because you might have a question that asks, find angle symbol 4. That would be find the measure of angle 4. So the M stands for measure. Obviously, this is the angle symbol and 4. So when you read that, it will be the measure of angle, whatever the number is. So I want to make sure you understand that in case you see instructions that say find the measure of angle 4, you know exactly what that means, and that will confuse you. Okay, so vertical angles. Vertical angles are angles that share a vertex and are opposite each other. The vertex is basically right here. The point where the two lines of an angle meet is called the vertex. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you which angles are vertical to each other. So right here, if I look at angle 1 would be right here. So I have to look for an angle that's opposite and shares the same vertex. So if you look at this right here, angle 3 shares the same vertex. It's this dot right here. And then it's opposite each other. So that is what vertical angles are. So I know that angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles. Now I also have angle 2 is this angle right here. And it shares this vertex with angle 4. And angle 4 and angle 2 are opposite each other. That makes them vertical angles. So angle 2 and angle 4 are also vertical angles. So that is what vertical angles are. They share the same corner, the little point, and they are opposite from each other. That's what makes them vertical. Any questions on that?
No, well, yeah. What the hell are all?
Can you like not say that way? Because remember, I am recording.
Oh yeah. What are all these little like signs? Like why do you?
That's the symbol for angle.
Yeah.
We talked about that in the last slide.
No, like why do you have to put the and?
The and, because angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical. Angle 2 and angle 4 are vertical. That is the pair of vertical angles. Okay, adjacent angles. Adjacent angles are angles that share a vertex and a side. That means that they're next to each other. They share a side. So you can see we're gonna start with angle 1. Angle 1 right here is sharing the side with angle 2. You can see right here, they are sharing this side, and they also share the same vertex. So that will make them adjacent. Angle 1 and angle 2 are adjacent. Now, angle 2 also shares this side with angle 3. And you can see that they share the same vertex. So that means that angle 2 is also adjacent with angle 3. Now angle 3 is sharing this side with angle 4. So you can see that angle 3 and angle 4, and they also share that vertex, are also adjacent to each other. And then lastly, we have angle 4 is sharing this side with angle 1. So angle 4 and angle 1, since they also share the same vertex, are also adjacent angles. So once again, in order to be adjacent, they have to be sharing the vertex and they have to share a side.
That totally makes sense. This is the X looks pretty at that. Or not, reverse it. It looks really nice. Are you still recording?
And yeah, start recording. Which, thank you very much, because now I couldn't pause it. Okay, so right here we have a set of 4 angles. I have given you that angle 1 is 70 degrees. So using that angle measurement, we're going to be able to find the measurement of angle 2, measurement of angle 3, and measurement of angle 4. Like I said already, we already know that the measurement of angle 1, we already know that that's 70 degrees because that information was given to us. Now, I have provided you with hints. The first hint is vertical angles have the same measurement. Which angle is vertical to angle 1?
3.
Angle 3. So since they share the same vertex and since they're opposite from each other, you know that vertical angles always have the same measurement. And if you look at angle 1 and 3, don't they kind of look like they're open the same amount?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So if the measurement of angle 1 is 70, that means that the measurement of angle 3 is also 70 degrees. So you can use your information about vertical angles to know that vertical angles are equal to each other. Now, we also know that straight angles equal 180 degrees. Every time you see a straight line, it has to equal 180 degrees. So if I look at angle 1, angle 1's right here, and it is adjacent to angle 2. But the more important part is that if you look at them together, they form a
line.
They form a straight line. So that means I know that straight angles equal 180 degrees. So I know that angle 1 is 70 degrees. I know I have to add the measurement of angle 2, and that was when you add them, since they form a straight line, they have to equal 180 degrees. So basically, we can just use algebra. Remember that you do your barrier, you bring down your variable, which in this case, the variable would just be the measurement of angle 2. You do the opposite, minus 70, whatever you do to one side, do to the other. And that tells us that the other side has to be 110 degrees. So to make things easier for you, I wanted to teach you how we're using algebra, but to make it easy for you, whenever you have straight 2 angles that form a straight angle, just get 180 degrees and subtract the one that you know, and that will give you the other measurement. And the reason why this shortcut works is because I have taught you algebraically, that's what we're doing. So now you know the shortcut. Just get 180 degrees and subtract the angle that you know, and that will give you the angle that you're missing. Huh? Oh, cool. So we now know that angle 3 is 70 degrees. And now we know that angle 2 is 110 degrees. So to find angle 4, you have 2 possibilities. You can also do the straight line thing again. Or more easily, you know that angle 2 is what with angle 4?
The same.
They're the same because they're
Similar.
what makes them similar?
I don't know.
The board
Vertical?
is on the screen. They're vertical, yes. Vertical angles have the same measurement.
That's the way I was.
So we know that angle 4 is 110 degrees. So you can use your information on vertical angles and you can use your information on straight angles to figure out what the measurements were. Okay, so right here we're talking about complementary angles. Complementary angles are two angles whose measurements equal 90 degrees. So like number one is an example of complementary angles. So that means that these two angles will equal 90 degrees. And the reason we know that is because right here you see this symbol. This symbol is the symbol for right angles, and we know that right angles equal 90 degrees. So we're going to be using our information that we know about complementary angles to find out the value of x. I don't want to know what the measurement of the angles are. I want to know what the measurement of x represents in this problem. So what do you guys know about these two angles? What type of angles are they? They're both acute, yes, but more specifically, I'm talking about like what type of angles are they?
Complementary.
Complementary. What do you guys know about complementary angles?
They equal 90 degrees.
If you add them, they equal 90 degrees. So now we can set up an equation to figure out what x is. So one is the measurement of one of my angles. What is the measurement of one of my angles? 2x. And what is the measurement of the other angle?
X.
X. So I know that if I do 2x plus x, it's supposed to equal 90 degrees. So since these are both x's, they belong to the same family. So we can combine them together because they both share the x. So if you have two x's and you add one x, how many x's do you have? You have three x's, and now it's an easy equation. Barrier, variable.
No, don't do it yet. I want to think about your head.
Do your opposite. If that's multiplication, the opposite will be
I don't know what's going on.
division. So we're going to divide by 3. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So that will give us that our x is equal to 30. So using complementary angles and algebra, we were able to figure out that x is equal to 30. Now for number 2 and 3, we're going to be using the concept of supplementary angles. And supplementary angles are the same thing as complementary, but they equal 180 degrees instead. So we're going to be using the same concept. 180 degrees. Every time you think of 180 degrees, you should think of a straight line or a straight angle.
Yeah.
So you can see that this angle and this angle form this straight angle right here. So both of them together are supplementary because both of them equal 180 degrees. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up our equation. I know that they're both supplementary, so I know that if I add them, they should be equal to 180 degrees.
It's still 30. So it's your mom.
So
It's 6.
I have to add them. What is the measurement of one of my angles?
180.
120. And then the other one is 2x.
Is it 30?
Okay, so right here, this is a two-step equation. We worked with two-step equations. You're gonna do your barrier. Since my variable is stuck to a number, I'm gonna bring the unit down. So my unit is 2x. We're gonna do the opposite. This 120 is positive. What is the opposite of positive 120?
Negative.
Negative. So I'm gonna subtract 120 from both sides. And then that will give me 60. Now I could complete it. I'm gonna complete the rest of it right here. So I have 2x is equal to 60, and I can solve that. Divide by 2 on both sides. That means that x is equal to 30.
I was right. What? I'm so congratulations.
So some of you might have also gone a different way. Some of you guys might have realized, wait, if this is 120, that means that this is equal to 60, right?
Yeah.
So some of you guys could have probably even skipped this step right here in the beginning And you could have just jumped straight to, I know that it has to be 60, so you could have jumped right there. So some of you guys could have probably done that. Some of you guys know that 2x had to be equal to 60, and you could have just solved that. But regardless, I have the long method and then the shortcut method. Okay, so what do you think we do for number 3?
Same thing.
I'll explain later. I'll explain later. Because remember I'm recording. I'll explain later. So what do you think we're doing for number 3?
Same thing.
That's an X. Sorry, that's an X. I'm sorry. Let me rewrite that because it does look like a plus. So let me rewrite that. Okay, so how do we set up number 3?
5x plus x equals 180.
5x plus x is equal to 180. And the reason we know that is because they're 2 angles. And you can see that together, they form a straight line. And since they form a straight line, that means that they are supplementary and they should equal 180. So then, you know that 5x and x are part of the same family. They both share an x. So that means you could combine them. If you have 5 x's and you add x, how many x's do you have?
6.
6x, and that's equal to 180. And then obviously we just have to divide by 6, and x would be equal to 30. I don't know why it all ended up being 30. That was just by chance because I just picked random numbers. But yeah, they were all equal to 30. Don't think that x is always going to be equal to 30 though. That was just a coincidence because I picked random numbers and they just happened to be there. No, do not always think that x is equal to 30. Please do not. Okay, so right here we have triangles. Triangles have 2 different classifications. You can classify triangles by angles. So you have an acute triangle. That means that all the angles of the triangle are acute. You have a right angle. That means that one of my angles is a right angle. And then you have a obtuse triangle. That means that one angle is obtuse. So in order for it to be a right angle and an obtuse angle, you have to have at least one of those angles being right or one of those angles being obtuse. If all of them are acute, it automatically is an acute triangle. You can also classify triangles by sides. When you have 2 equal sides, that means they have the same measurement. That's isosceles triangle. When none of the sides are equal, that is a scalene triangle. And then when all 3 sides of a triangle are equal to each other, that makes it equilateral. So even though there's 2 types of classifications, realize a triangle can be 2 types of triangle. So for this one, for instance, this is a scalene right triangle. The reason why it's scalene right triangle is because none of the sides are equal to each other, and also because it's a right angle. This right here, every time you have equilateral, it's automatically going to be acute. So this is an equilateral acute triangle because in order for it to be equilateral, it has to have equal sides, which means all the angles will also be 60 degrees, which means all the angles will be acute. So all equilateral triangles will always be acute. Right here, you have an obtuse scalene. It's obtuse because you have one obtuse angle and all the sides are not equal. So realize that all the classifications, all the triangles have 2 classifications. One based by the angles and one based by the sides. Something lastly I want to share. This is very important. This is where the math part of the triangles is going to come. You need to know this. Write it down somewhere. All angles. That's not how you spell angles. Sorry. Of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So if you get the 3 angles of a triangle, they will always, always, always add up to 180 degrees. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to give you different triangles and we're going to find the measurement of a missing angle. And the way you do that is you know that all 3 of them have to equal to 180. So we're going to be able to use that information to find the measurement of the missing angle. So that's what we're going to do next. So we're gonna be finding the missing measurement. We're gonna be looking for the value of X or whatever the missing measurements are, or whatever the instructions provide for you. The important information we need to know is that the three angles of a triangle always equal how much?
180.
Not 190,
180.
180.
One
Yes.
eighty.
So if we add
What I said.
the three measurements of the angles, then that will give you 180 degrees. So for number one, all you have to do is add the angles that you know, so that we know we're gonna do 50 plus 75,
You should refer to it like.
and that will give us 125. And then all you have to do after that is subtract 180, because all triangles equal 180, minus the measurement of the two angles you know. And that will give us 55. So X, the missing measurement, will be 55 degrees.
Wow, I never knew.
So once again, add the two angles you know, and then subtract it from 180. So for number two, what will we do? Because I only have one angle measurement.
Well, later.
Why don't I? Well, I have another angle measurement. Yes, which
90.
one? 90. Remember that this symbol right here means 90 degrees. So that actually is another measurement I have. So 40 plus 90 gives us 130. So 180 minus 130 will give us 50 degrees. So the missing measurement is 50 degrees.
How do you get 180? I mean 130.
40 plus 90,
Where does the 90 come from?
the right angle
Oh,
symbol.
right.
Okay, number three. Sometimes it's going to be provided as words, so you need to read the information.
Mister, I have a question.
Yes.
What
Yes.
time does this class end? Because I'm kind of
Okay,
confused with the new
that's
schedule.
that's not important right now because I'm in the middle of a recording. Ask me when I'm done recording, sorry. You have an isosceles triangle with angle measurements 35 degrees, 45 degrees. Find the missing angle. So sometimes if you guys are visual people, it might help if you draw a triangle. It's an isosceles triangle. That means two sides are equal. And they gave us 35 and 45. So you can know, you have to find the missing measurement. 35 plus 45 will give us 80. Yeah, it'll give us 80. So then all you have to do is 180 minus 80, and then that will give you 100 degrees. So your missing measurement will be 100 degrees. For number four, a right triangle has an angle measurement of 20 degrees. What are the three angle measurements? So I know that one measurement is obviously going to be, I'm going to call that angle one. Measurement of angle one is going to be 20 degrees because that's what they gave us. Now I'm missing the measurement of angle two, and I'm missing the measurement of angle three. What is the key word in this problem?
Right
They only
triangle.
gave us one measurement. There's a key word.
Triangle.
Say it again.
Right triangle.
There's no vertical word in that problem at all.
Wait.
Right.
Right. It's a
Why did I
right
hate everything?
triangle. What does that tell us?
90 degrees.
One of them has to be 90 degrees. So that word, so that's why I'm saying like sometimes it seems like it's complicated. If you draw yourself a picture, it'll help you realize that, oh wait, one of them has to be 90 degrees. So 20 plus 90 gives us 110. So all you would do is 180 minus 110, and that would give you 70. So the other measurement has to be 70 degrees. How do you think we do number five? Because I'm missing two angles.
A multi-step problem?
180 minus 30.
Is that the two-step problem?
It's going to be an equation. The fact that x, you see how there's two x's?
Yeah.
That means that they're exactly alike. So I know that, first of all, I'm going to do 180 minus 30, because I'm going to subtract what I do know. And that will give me what?
150.
150. Now, how many x's do you have?
2.
2 x's have to be equal to 150 degrees. And the reason why it has to be equal to 150 is because I already took away the 30. So that means that the missing measurement has to be 150 and it has to be split into the 2 angles. Understand? Because they're both equal angles, that means they have to be split. So if we divide by 2, x will be equal to
110?
75.
I don't know.
So that means that one is 75 and the other one is also 75 because they're both represent x. So knowing what you know about number 5, how do you think we do number 6?
I'm sorry. Oh, they're all even.
They're all equal. So how many x's are there?
3.
3 x's have to be equal to
And you divide by
180.
180. So if we divide that by 3, you would get that each angle will be 60 degrees. And that's how we use our information about triangles to help us understand missing measurements in triangles.
Yeah.
Oh, why did I do? What did I do? What did I do?
And this is
So I'm gonna be able to get the video and post them on YouTube, and then I'll be able to post it with the slides. So you guys will be able to watch it again later on. But also it's also for me for my 6th period. Yes, Victoria.
You started recording.
We're just in your sixth
I
grade.
am recording.
You just started
I
again.
started recording. Oh, bro.
So you were recording the entire time?
Okay, tips, tax, and markups. You're adding to the original price. So if we have, if we want to pay a 15% tip and the original price is $20, you're always gonna follow this process. Percentages are always based on 100. So you're always gonna start with 100 because that represents 100%. Since tips, taxes, and markups mean you're adding to the original price, what I want you to do is you're gonna add the tip or the tax or the markup to 100%. So 100% plus 15% will give us 115%. Then, since we don't work with percentages, all you're gonna do is convert that into a decimal by adding a decimal at the end and sliding it twice to the left.
115.
That will give me 1.15. And then all you do is you multiply that to the original price. The original price was 20. And that will give me, using a calculator, 1.15 times 20 will be 23. So what you're paying is $23, and that's the $20 plus the tip. That's the new price, right? If you're paying $23 when it originally was $20, what was the tip that you paid? How much tip did you pay?
A lot.
How much tip did we pay if the full price after the tip was $23?
$1.50.
No, guys, the original price was $20. After I applied tip, I'm paying $23. That means that the tip is only $3 because the original price was $20. So, last one. I don't know why people are standing up and talking because I am still teaching. Discounts and markdowns are taking away from the original price. So it is exactly the same process, but instead of adding, you're doing what? You're subtracting. So you still start with 100%. We're gonna subtract the discount or the markdown. That will give us 70%. Then we are going to turn that into a decimal. So that would become 0.70. Still recording, guys. Still recording, guys. So you're gonna be multiplying 0.70 to the original price, which was $70. And that will give me, when I put it in a calculator, 0.70 times 70 will give me 49. So if the original price was $70 and I am now paying a discounted price of $49, how much was my discount?
19.
Sorry, what?
$21. My discount was $21. Okay, so that is it for today.